All right. Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie back at you with a special live examination of Keystone Ice. And I am joined this evening by the one and only Ron Ontario of Louisiana Beer Reviews. So thank you, Ron, for joining me this evening.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
We have the
All right, so a little information on this product. It was introduced in 1994. It is 5.9% alcohol. It's a Molson Coors brand. And in 2009, it won a gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival in the American Style Specialty Lager category. So I've had this many times before as well.
Oh, yeah.
So let me go ahead and give mine a pour.
It was discontinued in this area for 4 years.
Yeah, it was actually really hard to come by in Georgia, probably about, up until the past year, really. And then it's kind of made a comeback, it seems like, within the last year. You can find it just about everywhere now.
I think Molson Coors said, what are we doing? We have a brand that would sell like crazy if we would actually make it available.
Right. Yeah, I think it's actually one of the better ice beers on the market, and the price point, of course, is really low. I got this single for, I think, $1.29 before tax, and you can buy the 15 packs for, I believe, $8.99 in my area.
$7.99 here.
Oh. Seems like everything in Louisiana is just a little bit cheaper than here in Georgia.
Hey, if you go to a lot of these convenience stores, like in the echo, especially, we still have that little problem, huh? Especially Circle K. I don't know if they have Circle K in Georgia, but Circle K around here, all the stations have this big promotion. $7.99 for a 15 pack, and they have the Keystone Ice and the light, mainly the light, but the ice, of course, mixed in. And so I went into Circle K last week, and I saw their big island they had built. So I went and I looked. I said, "Oh, okay, November 2018. That's good." Then I went behind it to the back, and I said, "Oh, January 2019. Oh, I'll take this one."
Mine is still relatively fresh. I've actually got one of those November dates, November 19th, 2018. So
you have a pint can.
Actually, this is a 24-ounce can.
Oh, I know it's a tall can because the tall cans have that light University of North Carolina rim.
Yeah, going all the way around the glass there. I really like the new can design.
Yeah,
and it's interesting. It's interesting. Natural Ice and Keystone Ice pretty much have the same color scheme on their new can designs.
Yeah, they're literally competing. Every aspect, except in one way. I think this one's from Albany, Georgia. I think 007 is Albany, Georgia. Brewery 7.
Yeah, I think, I have the same 007 on mine as well. So
hold on. I'll keep talking. I have to go. I spilt a little drop on me. Just a little drop. Back.
Well, I went ahead and gave it a pour. It's a nice golden color. There's a lot of stream of bubbles going up the glass. Didn't really pour with too much of a head in the schooner glass, but that's typical for this type of glass, where if I was to pour it in a Pilsner glass or just a standard pint glass, you'd probably get a lot more head with this beer. And it looks like we've got the same glassware as well. I got a nice Michelob schooner here that I'm using. You've got the PBR one there. Nice.
Yes, I got these back in 1996 when I started getting into beer. I was like, oh man, I want to go to all these flea markets and garage sales and buy glasses and all kind of stuff. So they were always like a quarter or $1, So I just was buying them, and pretty soon I had one beer glass, and then I had cabinets full, and I said, I can't buy any more. You know, it's out of control. And then people give me glasses all the time. I wanted to give you a glass because I'm like, oh boy. And I'm always thinking, I wish they wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I've
got
got.
too many.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said, because I have too many, you know.
Yeah, I've got a few myself. I got the. Oh, I'm hearing a lot of echo now too.
Might dissipate.
But yeah, I've got 3 or 4, and I got them for I think 50 cents in an antique store.
Oh, I mean, people have these garage sales. They call them garage sales. They're always in their yard. They should call it a yard sale. I guess the stuff comes out of their garage. But they, I have gotten so many glasses for $0.25 a piece, and I'm glad because I tend to break them.
Yeah.
You're drunk. You're stumbling and you break them. No, it's because you just drop stuff. You know, I'm holding things and they slip, or I'm careless. Like I'll be sitting here at the desk and I'll reach to grab something, and I forget the glass there, and I hit it and it falls over and breaks. You know, that kind of stuff. And I have bad news about one of the glasses you gave me.
Uh-oh. Yeah, those are kind of flimsy glasses, very thin glass.
So keep your eyes open for a review coming up for the Glenmorangie 10-year age Scotch.
Ooh. Did you buy a whole bottle, or did you do it with David?
We were so excited, you know, because my friend David calls me like an emergency phone call, said, what happened to some, and I'm thinking someone got hurt, you know. He's like, I got this bottle of Glenmorangie. He was excited for $30, and I said, oh, okay, I thought it was like some emergency. Well, in his mind, it was like an emergency. All right, so he said, you got to go read up on that stuff. I said, okay. He says, age 10 years, this is no joke, it's single malt. So I did a lot of research, and it was getting really high ratings, you know. Gave it a tier 1 class on Proof 66. So he came over, and we were all into it, and I said, let me see the bottle again. And I went to, it just slipped. Like, I can't explain it. And I caught it, but the neck of the bottle, I had the glass here, and the neck just came down. And that was it. It did, like you said, it doesn't take any kind of impact.
Yeah.
It just shattered. And I was so disgusted. And I said, well, I told John, don't give me those glasses because I'll break them. And I said, I got 1 down, 3 to go.
Yeah. Good thing it was a set of 4, so you've got a few more to work with. Well, do you want to go ahead and get started, lead off with the aroma?
Sorry for getting off track with that other story.
Oh, no, not at all. I always enjoy your stories. So
yeah. By the way, he bought the bottle. All right. Well, you know, this is an interesting product. It is sold in bottles, but try to find one.
Right.
Probably have a meeting with the Pope easier than getting a glass 12-ounce bottle of this. But I have eaten my words before, because like with Keystone Light, I said, you can't get that in bottles. And it was almost like as soon as the word came out of my mouth, there it was in 12-ounce bottles. But it is rare. And it's like hams. Yeah, there might be 5-6 packs of Hams bottles that are made every year, but you're never going to see them. Another weird thing about this beer is that it is an ale. And I don't know if there's any other mass-produced ice ales. And it says it on the bottle, on the can, everywhere. It never says lager everywhere, anywhere. I have cans going back over 20 years.
I didn't even know it was an ale. I never realized that.
In Texas, it just says ale. And I said, oh, well, this might be something new. So I went and got my old cans from 1996 and all of that. No, they always said ale, and they've always been certified kosher. Well, that's a Coors thing. That's got something to do with Denver, Colorado. So any Coors beer is going to invariably be kosher, which is irrelevant to most viewers, but including me. But it's strange, isn't it? An ale.
It is strange. I thought out of the macros, I know Mickey's ice brewed ale. I know that one's an ale, but for the most part, your ice brewed beers are going to be lagers. So that is a little unusual. Yeah.
Yeah. Now people might say, "Oh, that's just a marketing term. They're using that for some reason." But you got to be careful about saying that, because if you look, I was just before I went to wash my hair earlier, about an hour ago. I was reading the Tax and Trade Bureau regulations, United States Tax and Trade Bureau, about liquor. But there are strict regulations about labeling, and you can't just put stuff on there. You know what I mean?
Right.
It has to be the truth. And that's why some of those cans will say ale in Texas. That's what they're saying. It's a lager, but in Texas, it's considered ale because they use a different understanding of what ale and lager is. But what that's saying is, but for the rest of the United States, under the United States government guidelines, it's lager. So I do believe it is an ale, and it does have some fruity flavor to it. And so if it's top fermented ale and then it's ice brewed, what the heck? Who cares? You notice that fruity flavor?
Oh yeah, definitely. So, are you picking up? What are you picking up on the aroma?
Well, it's a funny thing I've noticed over the years with this product. It has a very yeasty, full nose. It reminds me, and you probably won't ever let me come on here anymore, but it reminds me almost of like Belgian ales. And I don't know what that. You know, these Belgian ales have that full nose, that like pungent thing. And this one has that too. I don't know why. It's almost like a spiced bread, but not real spicy. Like, no, it's not like an 8%, Belgian.
Right.
But there's some little funny things. I don't know. It's an intricate aroma. It's strange that we're talking about this, because a lot of people would just be pulling their hair out saying, "This is a cheap budget beer, you fool. It doesn't have all that. Wake up, smell the coffee, go buy a real beer, you idiot." But I'm just reflecting some comments I get on my channel from time to time. But I don't believe that it's that way. And I don't think it's our job to just be ripping it apart. I mean, if you want to rip it apart, fine. But I just don't feel that way. If I felt that way, I would say it. I would rip it if I felt it deserved to be.
Right. Yeah. Same here. It definitely has a full aroma. It does have some barley malt on the aroma. You're getting that sweetness. There is a little bit of that fruity note on the nose, but when we start drinking it, I think that'll come through a little bit more on the palate. But it's definitely a really good smelling beer, a little bit different than a lot of your other ice beers. So yeah, so let's so cheers, Ron. Thanks so much for joining me, and let's go ahead and get into this, and you can lead off with the description.
People will say all these ice beers taste the same, but it isn't so.
Oh yeah, that's definitely not true. If you're a craft beer only drinker and you switch and try some stuff like this, you might not really be able to differentiate. But for the average beer drinker that drinks a lot of these types of products, there's definitely a noticeable difference from beer to beer.
They taste similar, but not the same. It's got that, just like the nose, it's got that heavy, yeasty, rich, bready, bread crust flavor. It does not taste like yellow fizzy stuff, whatever that's supposed to mean. It has body. Oh, is it made with corn syrup, brewer's syrup, maltose, dextrose? Yes. Does it taste like a whole bunch of junk thrown together? No. It's crisp in the finish. It's not boozy like that's the thing. You could drink it 5.9, or you could just go to town drinking it. Now, it would be a problem later on when you went to get up and walk, but you know what I mean? But it's light. I mean, the calories are not high. on it. So it's like a light, strong beer. Perfect combination.
Yeah, 145 calories for 12 ounces at 5.9%. That's a relatively light beer for the alcohol.
Same calorie count as Budweiser, and it arguably tastes better than Budweiser.
Yeah, I like Budweiser. It's a lot different as well. Tastes a lot different than a lot of other adjunct lagers. But the Keystone Ice, I think, I prefer the Keystone Ice to the Budweiser. It's just more along the lines of the styles of beer that I like to drink. I like that 5.5 to 6% is the sweet spot for everyday drinking. I think you're kind of in the same range with the beers you like to drink.
Yeah, and you're right. And I'm not attacking Budweiser, of course. I'm just saying I can choose what I like, you know. So
right.
This gave me a 12-pack of Budweiser, I would be glad to drink it. So what?
So I was going to say on the taste, there is a little bit of a fruity note. I think either you and I were talking about this, or maybe it was William Kepley and I. Sometimes I almost light banana note almost in the flavor. Is that something that you pick up on?
Maybe, but I get it. Maybe, but I get it more with Coors Banquet. It's all coming from their yeast. To me, the banana on this one is more like a old black banana. You know, after they've been around too long and you need to make banana pudding with them. It's not like a just ripe banana.
Right. But yeah, it's definitely nice and bready. You're getting some sweetness in there. It's got a nice little hop bite as well. Nothing too much, but it does balance out the beer nicely in the finish. The carbonation is light to almost medium with this one. And of course, it's a super enjoyable product. You know, I really don't understand the slam reviews, but there's so many people that just hate on macro beers for whatever reason.
Well, Keystone is able to avoid most of that because everybody's too busy worrying about Budweiser.
Right.
They don't have time to be ripping on Keystone. But Keystone Ice is not a huge seller. I guess it's not in the top 20, but Keystone Light is. But it's a cheap beer, but they could, if they wanted to, they could sell it as a premium beer, really, because to me it is a premium beer in a cheap price point, at a cheap price point.
Right. Speaking of premium, Eric and I were talking off air the other night. You might be able to shed some light on this situation, but the Keystone Premium, I don't even know if it's still made, but that is probably one of the rarest beers out there. I don't know if too many people can get that, but
it exists, but it's in the same world as Coors Extra Gold Lager, Red Dog, Milwaukee's Old Milwaukee Ice, except for Wayne Kepley. It's just in the world that it exists, but nobody can get it. These premium budget beers are going away. Keystone Premium, forget it. It's been out of my area for nearly 20 years. 1999, I guess, was the last time I saw it. Milwaukee's Best Premium, gone.
I noticed that has disappeared from my area as well. The Milwaukee's Best Premium was readily available for years, and then I finally started getting the Milwaukee's Best Ice, and now all I ever see anymore is the Milwaukee's Best Light, and even that's becoming pretty hard to find here.
Well, Milwaukee's Best Light is still a strong seller here. And I think that's what happened. Milwaukee's Best Light and Keystone Light chased the premium off the shelf. Because, you know, that's the thing today. Everybody wants to drink light beer, which is fine. I don't care. But they say, I'm going to go to college. I'm drinking Keystone Light. I'm drinking Milwaukee's Best Light. That's what they play beer pong with, not Keystone Premium. So they all went away. And there's some that literally went away. Meisterbrow, that was a budget premium beer. You know what I mean? From Miller, gone, like literally gone. The Keystone Premium is practically gone. Milwaukee's Best Premium is pretty much gone, and that was the original one. When's the last time you saw Old Milwaukee? Well, Old Milwaukee's a dead brand. You know, forget that.
That's actually pretty popular here now. I can get it pretty regularly. It's always the Old Milwaukee and the Pabst are both pretty popular here. But the Old Milwaukee, up until about a year and a half ago, I could never get it either. So it's just now kind of becoming popular in my area.
There's one store that sells suitcases of it in New Orleans, in Metairie, Louisiana. They must have a few old men that's probably 75 years old that go there once a week and buy a suitcase of it. You know, maybe 5 guys, and they buy it, and then there's 5 other ones that buy Schaefer Light. You know, once those guys pass away, you'll never see it again. There's a store here that sells Old Milwaukee, and that's Circle K. But it is, and that's an indictment against the distributor. They make me sick. The Best Buy date is October of 2017. And when David and I drank it, and he found out the Best Buy date, he just went berserk. He just like went crazy. And I was at his house, and I had to delete the video. He was just going out off his rocker, you know. He gets so furious about freshness. But I mean, I agreed with his rant and rave, because there's no excuse for that.
Oh, yeah, there's really, it's really unfortunate. The other day when I was doing the examination of the Rolling Rock with William Kepley, off air, we were looking at the dates, and he was interpreting the lot codes. And one of the cans of the Rolling Rock, you know, I bought a few singles. One of the cans of Rolling Rock that I bought was back from 2016.
So stupidity. It's total stupidity.
It's almost like they had it in the back of the cooler for a couple years, forgot about it, and then tried to sneak it in, on the single shelf to just get rid of it. Because a lot of people, let's be honest, a lot of people, unless it has a specific date on there, 90% of your beer consumers out there are not going to know how to interpret a lot code. So
that's right. Everybody that buys beer is not William Kepley.
Right.
And they shouldn't have to be. I mean, he's good at it, and I understand, and I admire him for doing that research. And when I have that kind of question, he's the guy to ask. But otherwise, that is bullcrap. The consumer should not have to go do research to find out a born-on date. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's the argument. They say, well, just go do the research. Yeah, right. Like, who's going to do that? If you can't put a sensible born-on date, then put a Best Buy date.
Exactly.
And rotate the product. Because I was furious when I bought that 6-pack of Old Milwaukee, and it was Best Buy October 2017. And it tasted terrible. I knew something was wrong with it. Freshness does matter. So, oh well. I'm sorry getting so mad.
Yeah, it's really imagine the outrage if food products had lot codes on them. I mean, it's just, why should beer be any different? Because
milk.
Freshness.
Imagine milk.
Right.
How many people would like it if milk had a born-on date instead of a Best Buy date? Oh no, they'd be furious. I want to know when my milk goes bad. And milk is pretty good about that, because like if you get milk and it says October 3rd on it, like you drink it October 3rd, it starts tasting like sour stuff. It's no joke. It starts tasting rotten or sour. So doggone it, dang it, heck and shoot. I'm so angry I could tear a tissue and stomp a grape. Put the Best Buy date, guys. And
exactly.
Keep going. I love it.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and read a few comments, and then we'll get to the final thoughts on the Keystone Ice.
Okay.
So Gabriel Salaya says hello, and he can get the keys, or the Circle K's are all over Arizona. He said that the Keystone Ice just came to his area in 2017 when the 15 packs were released.
Yeah.
He's never had it though. It's good, Gabriel. If you should definitely try it. It says a few more things. Old Milwaukee and Old Style is here. The Old Style, man, I would love to get my hands on some of that. That's unfortunately that's more of a Midwest beer. It's not available out here.
Don't even get me started on that.
Yeah, beer date code. I'm not good at it either. Well, I don't think too many people are, Gabriel. So you're not alone there. Bart Robinson is in the chat. Hey, Bart. He says, good evening, John and Jay. I always enjoy a Keystone Ice and sipping on my favorite right now, Old Milwaukee Ice. And yes, Jay, I have Red Dog and Coors Extra Gold in the fridge. No joke. Cheers, friends. Well, cheers back to you, Bart. And I am really jealous because I can't get the OM Ice, the Coors Extra Gold, or the Red Dog. And I would really love to try all three. Those are three, at the top of my bucket list of macro beers to try. So
makes me sick. Disgusting.
So the Keystone Ice, I think we both enjoy it. You don't have to give a specific rating if you don't want to. People that are watching should definitely go check out your channel. You've reviewed it a handful of times on your channel, and if anybody hasn't already heard of Louisiana Beer Reviews, they need to probably crawl out from under the rock they're living under and get with the program. But
I'll give it an A. I like it. I always did like it. It was my favorite ice beer way before it got pulled out of this area. I always thought it was smooth and mild. I do like Milwaukee's Best Ice, but that's barely hanging on around here.
Yeah, same here. And I really like it as well. I think it's definitely in the A range. For an ice beer, it's probably like a 98 out of 100. Overall, for me, it's like a 90, 95. It's a solid A product. I think my favorite ice beer now is the Molson Ice. That one's just really special. And thank goodness it's pretty popular here. That and the Molson Triple X are really popular here. I could always get the Molson Canadian and the Molson Golden, but until I moved out here to Noonan, I never saw the Molson Ice or the Triple X. So
yeah, the only one we get is Molson Canadian, and it's not too popular, really. A few people buy it, but all those other variants, no way, no how. It's never been sold here. But we're a small state, and we just don't get a whole lot of variety with macros. We get more variety with craft beers, but most of them you never see in your life. It's all local stuff. It's like, I don't even know why I do the videos. It's like, oh, look at this obscure craft beer from Mississippi. Look at this obscure craft beer from New Orleans, which 99% of the viewers will never get. It's almost like no point to making the video. I make the videos and I enjoy doing it, but there's no point to it, really.
Well, there is, in a sense, like the craft beer viewer or drinker that watches your videos. A lot of the craft beers, they fall into a certain style. So if you're drinking one that might be similar to another brand that makes a similar product, it kind of gives the viewer an idea of what to expect. So I always enjoy. I know you don't watch a lot of reviews if you haven't actually had the product, but I'm kind of the opposite. I enjoy watching reviews of beers that I haven't had that I want to try, and based on how the review goes, it kind of leads me or gets me going one direction or another on whether or not I should try the beer. So
yeah, maybe I'm weird, but that's just the way I am. When we get off air, I'm gonna go watch baseball. But before we do that, I'll show you something that I bought today for 1946.
Absolutely, yeah.
Plus tax. I love Keystone Ice. I do not work for Molson Coors or Miller Coors, their subsidiary, but I like it. Okay, I like it. Somebody told me today, you must work for Anheuser-Busch. I said, I I think that would be a fun job, but I don't. But I know people that do, and they seem pretty stressed out all the time, so maybe it wouldn't be fun.
It seems fun because we're, you know, we love doing this, talking about beer, drinking beer, but it might be a little bit different if you're actually, you know, held to a different standard and have to answer to all these people. And
they always seem like they got a gun to their head, you know, so I'm thinking maybe it wouldn't be so fun. But, you know, I'm sure people think that since I'm always bragging on how good their beers are, but that ain't nothing new. Go back to 2010 and watch my videos. I was bragging on them then.
Right. So Gabrielle says everyone has heard of Jay Terrio here in Phoenix, Arizona, all the way to Australia, China, and Europe here. So YouTube famous. That's right, Gabrielle.
Right. Well, where's the golden Cadillac that's supposed to be in my front yard here picking me up?
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap up the examination. If you have any final thoughts or if you want to show something before we get off air here, you can go ahead and do that.
Well, it's not beer.
Yeah, and give if you've got any upcoming Dawn Busters or any exciting things happening on your channel, go ahead and let the viewers know what's going on. I'm excited about the beginning of next month. I know we've got something coming up then. So
look how much that light has dissipated since we started.
Right. Yeah, same here. It's getting dark here, and I don't have the light on in my bedroom, so
it'll be glare. We're talking about the glare, but it is okay. Yeah, Dawn Busters tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, but Thursday. Dawn Busters. I'm planning to do Rich and Rare versus your favorite whiskey of all time, haha, Canadian Limited.
Oh. Huh.
All right, and then, but I felt so shook up this morning because I got them wrong. And the Whiskey Scout said, "Boy, your percentage has been dropping." I said, "Yeah," and I'm trying to think of an excuse for it. I'm trying to come up with a good excuse that doesn't blame me.
Right.
But anyway, and then I have Rich and Rare versus Black Velvet, Rich and Rare versus Canadian Club, Rich and Rare versus Canadian Club 12-year, which a cool dude gave to me. Really cool dude right now. He's like really into exemplary stuff. And we got Rich and Rare examination coming up October 3rd. So that's going to be pretty exciting.
I'm really excited about that. That's one that I'm saving. I'm not opening the bottle until the examination. It's been well over a year since I've had it, so it'll kind of be like getting back into it for the first time because I've had so many whiskeys since then that I don't really remember too much about it, other than it was good.
I know, and I was thinking about you today because I was doing a beer taste challenge, which is coming up to be posted soon. And I had these whiskeys lined up on the counter, and I was thinking, oh, John and Neely would love to be trying all these. The Northern Lights.
Mm-hmm.
Canadian.
I can actually get that one, I think. So.
Oh, yeah. And then Canadian Windsor.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one was, oh, well, this one I don't think you can get. Lord Calvert Canadian Blended Whiskey.
Actually, I can get the Lord Calvert here.
Oh, well, it gets even more exciting than I believe. Now, you ready for the big news?
Let's hear it. Lay it on me.
Well, I'll be right back.
All right. And while you're doing that, I'll read a few more comments.
Right back.
Eric Fraunfelter of Massachusetts Beer Reviews is tuning in. Says, hello, guys. Just tuned in. He just finished his last Schlitz. Unfortunately, I can't get Schlitz here, but a really cool guy brought me a 6-pack, and I got to try it. So, and I really enjoyed it. So that was pretty cool. And yes, Eric, I was just about to say that we've got another examination coming up. It'll probably be on Thursday, and Eric and I are going to be looking at the Carlsberg.
Oh, I got a notice from a Carlsberg representative today. Well, it's
Oh, really?
the company that handles their advertising, you know, they claimed, but I don't see why they'd be lying considering the context of the message. They said, we want you to send us an email because we want to talk to you about something. I said, well, okay. So this lady says she was in Europe somewhere. She said, we were looking at this video you made for Carlsberg, and she gave me the link to prove that they watched it. I said, okay. She said, we're going to start this new radio advertisement campaign for Carlsberg beer in Europe, and we wanted to use parts of your review for the radio ad if you give us permission.
Wow.
So I said, well, go ahead. It doesn't matter to me.
That's pretty cool right there.
So get ready, folks. You're going to hear me on the radio in Europe. Now, some of the viewers are saying, I'm going to go get a gun and put it to my head now. All right.
That'll be interesting to see how the parts of the video in the radio ad.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to, I don't know how that is going to work. I don't think I have a radio voice, but it's their animal. All right. Thursday, I can't do any kind of videos. Thursday night, I got something to do. And then Friday, I have something to do. So I'll be out of action for a little while. Nothing bad, just stuff to do. All right, here we go. This is going to be a big bottle. I went to Walmart. You see, we have Walmart, and they sell liquor. Look at this 1.75 milliliter glass bottle.
Wow.
They're usually those round plastic bottles, right?
Yeah, once you get up to the 1.75, it's rare to see.
This is a big one.
Wow. Obviously, I've never heard of it, but then again, I never heard of the speckled tail either before watching your review and, of course, seeing it at Walmart down in Florida. So
Yeah, the legendary Stedman Select Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey Sour Mash, 86 proof now. You know it's legendary. It's been on the market since 2018. See how fast you can become legendary? Distilled, this is going to, I know you're going to guess before I finish talking. Distilled, bottled, and barrel-aged in Kentucky. American white oak, slow matured in American white oak barrels. Well, it has to be bourbon, right? Oak barrels. Then they got this long write-up about this guy, Ebenezer Hiram Stedman, blah, blah, blah. It is believed, you know how they always, believed by who? It is believed
right.
All right, but it says bottled by IWA Distilling Company Limited. I never heard of an actual company called IWA.
Right.
Distilling Company Limited of Louisville, Kentucky. Age 36 months. So that pretty much tells you who makes it, right?
Would that be Heaven Hill or?
No. That's a good guess. It's Sazerac, because every Walmart brand of liquor that says IWA is Sazerac. And if you go to Winn-Dixie and buy liquor that's from them, it says the Founders Company, Kentucky. Now, what does IWA stand for? This I do not know, and I'll probably never find out. But that's it. And you'd probably go for this, wouldn't you? 1.75 liter for 1946.
Absolutely, and you know, bourbon is my favorite style of whiskey, so yeah, I'm sure I would get into that. And I noticed, you know, the Walmart brands do a really good job with the descriptions on the bottles on a lot of their products, which it's funny because a lot of the more expensive brands, not all of them, but some of them don't bother to do that. But you got your cheap little Walmart brands and, you know, store brands that kind of go over and beyond with the labeling and the descriptions of their products.
Yeah, they must have told Sazerac, make it look authentic. Because it says, when Ebenezer Hiram Stedman and his brother Sam acquired their Bluegrass Region Mill complex in 1833, little did they know that it would become an important part of Kentucky history. Dating from as early as the 1790s, this unusual mill complex at times boasted a sawmill, a paper mill, a grist mill, and a distillery. It is believed that in this very spot, Ebenezer Stedman first used the term bourbon to describe the local distillation. to describe the local distillation that would become the drink of choice for whiskey lovers the world over. Now, you never would have known that if you hadn't bought this bottle.
Never would have guessed. Never heard of the guy, but yeah, he sounds like he was one of the pioneers of whiskey. Oh,
like T boots. All right.
Well, let me read some final comments, and we'll go ahead and close this out.
Yeah, you can watch baseball.
That's right. So Eric says that he was asked to use parts of his review as well. He wonders how the Carlsberg reviews will be used in the radio ad. Yeah, that'll be interesting, Eric. And IWA, he says, is International Wine Association. Or Associates, yeah. International Wine Associates.
Huh. Okay, thanks for that information.
The more you know. And so anyway, I think we covered the Keystone Ice pretty well. I really appreciate you joining me on my channel. And everybody look out for Thursday night. That's the plan so far. Eric Fromfelter and myself are going to be looking at the Carlsberg here on my channel at 7:30. So look out for that. And that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for watching this special live examination of Keystone Ice. Hope everybody's having a great evening. And until next time, everybody, cheers.
Cheers, people.